First of all, you should never be begging a man to marry you. But honey, I need you to wake up. I personally don't think 2 years is a long enough time to know someone and have kids with them. As a woman, you should never be stuck in a situation with a man where he's the one controlling all the money and you have no money for yourself. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Confidence and Killing It podcast. As always, it's your girl Tiwalola, and I am here to wake you up to your worth so you can be confident, unstoppable, and dare to live the life that you truly desire. I know you are ambitious. I know you have big dreams and big goals, but sometimes the size of your confidence doesn't quite match how big your ambitious dreams are. So I am here to help you close that gap, to learn about yourself, to wake up to your greatness so that you can begin to take action and show up in the world. And of course, be confident and killing it. I'm excited to do this episode because it's going to be a dilemmas episode, okay? Welcome to the Confident and Killing It Hotline. You sent in your dilemmas and I'm going to go through them and give you some advice. As a confidence coach, as a life coach, I want to make sure that the girls are making the right decisions. I've got your dilemmas. They're really good. They're really juicy. We're going to be talking about everything from love, career, marriage, figuring out life, and navigating career and workplace and dealing with a toxic boss. If you want the tea on any of those things, make sure you stay till the end. Before we get started, I would love to invite you to subscribe to this channel. It means so much to me when you leave comments and subscribe and join the Confident and Killing It family, because life is more fun when we're all confident and killing it together. So let's get into today's dilemmas. All right, so my first dilemma is from Dami, and she says, "Hi, I'm a big fan of yours, and honestly, your podcast helped me so much in the past years, especially during COVID. My dilemma is I just got my dream job, but my boyfriend wants us to start having kids. Background: I've spent years unhappy in my career, gone through burnout, and finally found a role in sports marketing that I never thought I could get, and I actually managed to do. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. He's 31 and I'm 29. He has a stable career, lives with me, and feels pretty ready to have kids. I also would love to be a mom and think he would be a great father, but I feel that I could jeopardize the start of my career that I always wanted. Any advice? Wishing you all the happiness and success in 2025. Whew. Okay, Dami. First of all, I personally don't think 2 years is a long enough time to know someone and have kids with them. I mean, everybody's journey is different, but if you're going to have kids and not consider marriage or have kids before you get married, I think you need to spend a little bit longer with your partner, because having kids is a whole different dynamic. And you need to make sure that your relationship has been trialed and tested. Have you and your partner gone through difficulties? Have you, had difficult conversations? Have you talked about things like money and actually what it would look like bringing kids in the world? How are you going to have help to manage the kids? These are all important conversations that need to be had. And I don't think 2 years is enough time to fully know someone to be ready to say, I want to have kids with this person. That's number one. Number two is mothers always end up making the most sacrifice. Women always end up making the most sacrifice. And so if you've been on your career and you've been really unfulfilled in jobs and you finally found the job that brings you fulfillment that you're so happy to get, if you leave that because your partner wants you to start having children, then you might end up resenting your child. You might end up feeling like you let go of a life that you really wanted in order to make your partner happy. I know you want kids eventually, but if you let go of a part of yourself that brings you a lot of fulfillment in order to please, your partner's wishes, you might end up really resenting your child at the end of the day. And a mother's health is so important. A mother's mental state is so important. So you want to make sure that when you're having kids, you're going into it feeling secure in who you are. Because, you can't work a lot of the time during that time. You have to take leave. You have to make sure that your finances are in a good place. If you're not married, you need to make sure that your partner is ready to support you and carry a lot of that financial burden. So I wouldn't rush into it. I would prioritize enjoying these moments in your career. You're still in your 20s, you still have enough time to have kids. And I would just go a little bit slower. And then maybe in a couple of years, when you feel more settled, then that would be a good time to have kids. All right, next dilemma is from Shoals. And they said, I moved to the UK in 2023 for my master's, but I still don't feel settled, even though it's been 2 years. Getting a job feels impossible. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong with my job applications, but I'm tired of receiving rejection emails. Now, I don't know if spending this much money to study here was even worth it. Charles, I really, really feel you on that. And honestly, the job market is tough. So I really empathize with you in the challenge that you're feeling. But you have to stay positive. Without hope, none of this even matters, right? So, yes, the job market is challenging right now, but opportunities are always in abundance. And you have to believe and remember that things are always working out for you, okay? Um, there's a saying that goes, life isn't good or bad apart from the meaning that you give it, right? So if you are, how are you processing all of these rejections? If you are seeing this as, I'm not good enough, I'm getting rejected, remember, you can never be a reject. Rejection is an event. It has a start date or an end date. It's something that happens to you. It is not who you are. So, yes, you're receiving a lot of rejections right now, but if you internalize it as something negative, it can really demoralize you, right? Your thoughts lead to your feelings, and your feelings lead to the actions that you take or you don't take. So, the story you are telling yourself about your job hunt, about you being able to find a job, is going to influence whether you keep trying or whether you give up. Now, one thing we know about successful people, they weren't always the most talented, but they had belief and persistent action. They were consistent. They did not give up. A lot of the successful people you know today, you wouldn't know them if they had given up. Okay? So, check the story you are telling yourself. If you keep saying to yourself every day, this is impossible for me, this is impossible for me, then it will be impossible for you. But how can you begin to reframe your thoughts so that it still feels very empowering? For example, you could say, this is hard, but I can do hard things. Okay, we can acknowledge the situation is challenging, but guess what? You have what it takes to do hard things. And this is for everyone struggling right now, looking for a job, being in a challenging situation with your career. Life is hard, but you can do hard things. That's the first thing. The next thing I want you to think about is if you are applying for jobs that are in alignment with your true authentic self. When I first graduated from university, I felt so much pressure to get a job. And so I just applied for any and every job that was vacant. And that led to a lot of rejections. So the first thing I want to ask you is, are you applying for jobs that are in alignment with your true authentic self? Are you applying for jobs that are in alignment with your strengths, your passions, and your values? In chapter 1 of my book, Confidence and Killing It, we talk about creating your true authentic self, your power circle. So I want you to make sure you're applying for jobs that are in alignment, that you're going to be using your strengths, your passions, and your values, your personal values are aligned with the company's personal values, because that is how you are going to begin to stand out. Another thing I want to ask you is, are you working on your personal brand? Competition is rife these days. Everybody works hard, but not everybody stands out. So, what are you doing to stand out in the workplace? Are you positioning yourself as a thought leader in your field? Are you positioning yourself as somebody who is a self starter, somebody who is proactive? For example, Let's say you want to apply for to a magazine. Maybe you can show them how you've already started your own magazine. I remember when I got my dream job at Nike Foundation, I showed them that, listen, with or without this job, I'm still going to be empowering women and girls. I'm still going to be doing work that changes the world. And that made me an even more desirable candidate than other people. Okay? So, how are you applying for a job in alignment with your strengths and your passions? How are you standing out, right? And building a personal brand that shows people you are an expert in your field. And then the last thing I want to say to you is you cannot change the past, okay? You made a decision, you came to the UK to study for your master's, and you are doing it and almost done with it. All you can do is invest in the present state and trust that the future will unfold exactly the way it's meant to unfold for you. You cannot go back and change the past, but what you do have control over is your thoughts, is your emotions, is you not giving up, how hard you're gonna keep going and working. These are the things you have control over. So don't worry about feeling regret about whether this was a good decision or not. You made the decision, all right? Life is not always about the cards you are dealt. It's about how you're going to play with the cards that you have. You've made the decision and you can't take it back. So now I want you to focus on how can you build the future of your dreams, okay? Because the dream job that you want is out there. And in the meantime, whilst you are looking for a job, what can you start with now? What do you have available to you in your hands? Is there a side hustle? Is there some volunteering you can do? Don't sit at home idle, stressing out that you cannot find a job. Get moving, get active. Action breeds confidence, okay? And so the more active you are and proactive, trying out new things, exploring, the more confidence you will have to keep pursuing on the journey. So I'm sending so much love to you, Shawls. I know it's not easy, but opportunities exist in abundance. Next, we have Lover Girl. Hey, Lover Girl. She says, Hi, Tiwa. I know you were in a long term relationship, so I think you can advise me. Okay, let's see how this goes. I have been in a long term relationship with my partner for 4 years. He's an amazing partner and we truly love each other. He recently relocated out of Nigeria and I feel left behind here. I've been struggling a lot mentally since he left, and I'm at a phase in my life where I want him to take this relationship to the next level. I have communicated this with him severally and asked him to make his intentions clear to my family. Before he left, he told me he would do something official this year in 2025. But then recently, he told me he won't be coming back to Nigeria at all in 2025. He gave me several reasons why we cannot get married this year. He did this last year and as well as in 2023. I'm very disappointed because for the past 2 years, I have had conversations with him about my desire to get married. I feel he wants everything to be perfect in his life before getting married. Why does he not have the same level of urgency and desire for this as me? For context, I'm in my mid 20s and he's in his early 30s. We have an 8-year age gap and we both have stable jobs. Lover girl. Lover girl, I need you to open your eyes, please. There's so many things to unpack. First of all, I feel you. Emotions are tough to manage, okay? When your partner isn't doing what you want, it can be upsetting, okay? So I empathize with you. But honey, I need you to wake up, okay? I need you to open your eyes and see what is going on here. First of all, you should never be begging a man to marry you. We don't do that. You are the prize, okay? You are not meant to be begging a man to marry you. Marriage is meant to be a mutual thing. Okay, first of all, marriage is meant to be a mutual thing. Second of all, the man should really be the one taking the lead on this, right? He wants you. Yes, you want him too, but really and truly, he shouldn't know how dead you are for him. Okay, you always have to maintain an element of aura and mystery as a woman, right? So, first of all, yeah, you should never be begging a man to marry you. If he wanted to, he would. Secondly, girl, you are in your 20s. Your whole life is ahead of you. There's no point feeling stuck and shrinking yourself and putting your life on hold because you're waiting for a man to marry you. There is so much time in life to get married. Marriage is not a prize, okay? Marriage is this thing that society has put on a pedestal, and really and truly, it is not that. You feeling good about your life, feeling abundant, you unlocking your full potential. That is should be your top priority in your 20s, not whether or not a man has promised to marry you. Next thing is love isn't just about the words. Okay, love is also about action and commitment. If 3 years running somebody promises you something and 3 years they don't deliver, it's time for you to take a step back and really think and evaluate. Is this really love if he's promised you something and each year he lets you down? Personally, I don't think so. Now, I was in a relationship for 12 years before I got married, and I intentionally did not want to get married until my 30s because I wanted to spend my 20s being adventurous, exploring, prioritizing me. Because the moment you get married, you cannot just only think of yourself, you have another person to think about. Your 20s are the best times of your life, and you will never get those back, right? So this is the time for you to focus on you and make sure you are living your life to your full potential. Now, I did not have to pressure my husband into marriage, right? We both mutually agreed that we wanted to do it and we were going to do it when it felt right to the two of us. Now, this is how I knew that this man was going to be my husband. So one day in the pandemic, apparently he was writing out his goals at the beginning of 2020, and he was writing out his goals and he was like, wait, how can I be writing out my goals for the year without Tiwa? So he sent me a calendar invite to set up a date where the two of us were going to sit down one evening and write our goals together. That is the kind of level of commitment you want from a man who plans to marry you. You should not be chasing him. He should be the one carving out time to make sure he can come back to Nigeria and see you. Carving out time to make sure that when he's planning of his future, he's also thinking of you. Okay, honey. So I will let you make that decision for yourself, but I think you need to take a step back and realize that if people's actions don't measure up to their words, then that is not them being truthful and authentic. And that is going to be hard for you to trust someone. You don't want to go into a marriage with somebody who breaks your trust. And remember, again, you are the prize. Do not keep your life on hold for a man. Move on with your life, invest in yourself. And if he happens to move back to Nigeria and you're also available, fine, you can kick things off again. But do not put your life on hold for another man. Okay? Thank you. Next dilemma is from Makana, and she says, hi Tiwa, for the past 2.5 years, I've been working in a well paid job that allows me to take off as much time as I want and still go back into the role. However, I know I've been playing it small by staying in this role because it's far from the work I truly want to be doing. My boss also constantly talks down on me, and I try not to take it personally, but it has really run me down to the point that I no longer believe in myself, both in work and life. And I notice I'm working and living in a state of fear a lot of the time. I'd like to make a smooth exit from this job and pursue a new role where I can go back to being my confident self and be able to use my current skills and learn and grow. I try to tell myself no job is worth sacrificing my well being and my health, but I'm so scared to leave behind the pay, especially when I hear people are having a difficult time finding new jobs and everything is getting expensive. And I have my family to take care of. I also don't want to end up in a more toxic job than where I currently work. What do you suggest is the best way to go about this? Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Makana, for sharing that with me. And I can totally empathize with your situation. Being in a toxic work environment, being with a boss that is putting you down is not cool at all. So, the first thing is you deserve to live a life that fulfills you. You deserve to live a life where you can go into work and do work that you deeply care about. So I think it's really good that you have already identified you're playing small by staying in this job. Your higher self, right, is sending you messages saying it's time, it's time, it's time. And that happened to me before I quit my job to run Confidence and Killing It full time. I was feeling the signs in my body that it was time to quit that job, but I had similar excuses, right? Oh, I don't have enough money saved. Oh, I don't have a business plan. Oh, I don't have any clients lined up. And I delayed it, and the longer I delayed it, the bigger the pain inside of me got. So thank you for actually opening up about this dilemma, because it shows you that something in you already knows the right answer, but you're scared. Okay, so let's first address the fear, because I know you know what to do. When you stay still and you tap into your intuition knows what you should be doing. But right now, the fear is holding you back. And fear is just a negative thought of something in the future that has not even happened yet, right? So you're going into your future and thinking, what if I quit this job and I can't find another one? What if I quit this job and I can't help sustain my family? What if I quit this job and then I enter another situation and it's still another toxic work environment, right? You're going into your future and you're thinking of all the things you don't want to happen. And then, of course, that's going to scare you. So instead of going into your future and leaning into the worst possibilities, I want you to lean into the positive possibilities of your life. It's in the future. You have no idea how it's going to go. So you might as well lean into the positive possibilities that are available to you. Don't just think of all the worst outcomes, right? Because that is not the full picture. If you're going to think of what if you quit this job and you get into another job and it's just as toxic, you have the same amount of power and the same amount of choice to think, what if I find another job that is actually so aligned with my strengths and my talents and my passions, and I feel more energized and fulfilled? Both of those options are available to you. You have to decide which one you want and lean into that and meditate on that. Okay. So, first things first, you have to let go of the fear. I always say a fear of failure guarantees failure, right? Because when you experience fear, fear leads to inaction. And when you don't take action, you stay stuck in the same situation. The outcome that you're avoiding ends up happening. The second thing is, I don't think any job, no matter how much they pay you, is worth losing your confidence and affecting your mental, physical, and emotional health. It's not worth it, because yes, you're getting paid, but at what cost? And is this the only physical way you can make money? I don't think so. If this job is costing you your emotional health, your mental health, then I think it is too much of a price to pay. Yes, I know you have other responsibilities to consider, but I need you to be open to what other options there are. Okay. If you're already closed off saying it's hard to get a job, what if it's other toxic environments out there, then that is what you're going to end up getting. I need you to be open to realize that there are other ways to make money without going into depression. There are other ways to make money without subjecting yourself to, emotional abuse from a manager who is always talking you down. Money when you have no confidence left is not a win. The third thing I want you to do is you need to start building your confidence back up, okay? And you do this through taking action. So I want you to think about, can you reflect on your strengths, moments you've been proud of yourself? I want you to start with a monthly wins tracker, okay? And the link is in the description notes. I want you to start tracking your wins, your small wins and your big wins. Write them down, because you need to remind yourself of your greatness. You need to remind yourself of all the things you have done in the past and the things you are capable of doing again in the future. Because if you did it before, you can do it again. right? There are so many things you did not know how to do in the past, but look at you now. So I know that you have the power, you have the strength, you have the resilience to get out of this negative situation. So remind yourself of your strengths. What do you have inside of you that can remind you that no matter what life throws at you, you're going to come out stronger. Okay. So rebuild your strengths, track your wins, and spend more time with people who uplift you. If you're stuck with this manager, first of all, I would see if you can change departments in your office, right? If you can't change departments and you're stuck with this manager, make sure you are spending time with people outside of work who uplift you. There's internal confidence, but there's also external factors that can influence our confidence. And you can be the most confident person, but if you're surrounded by someone who is really negative and always beating you down, it's gonna knock your confidence. Okay. So, in order to take this leap of faith and bet on yourself and leave this job, you have to rebuild your confidence again. So, if you can't rebuild it at work, think of what you can do outside of work to rebuild your confidence. Confidence is an in depth belief in yourself that you have what it takes to accomplish your dreams and your goals. And then the last thing I wanna say is start financial planning. Start a special pot or a fund in your savings account that is for saving to leave this job. My grandma always said women should have an FU fund because as a woman, you should never be stuck in a situation with a man where he's the one controlling all the money and you have no money for yourself. So I want you to start an FU fund for leaving this job. Okay. And you're going to have to make some sacrifices, put money aside, see if you can speak to your family members and let them know that you need to transition your job. And so you might need to take a step back from supporting them as much as you did. You can still support them, but maybe you just need to take a little bit out of that to put in your pot so you can start to save. And then you can feel more comfortable about leaving that job, even if you don't have another job ready. All right. And finally, we have Sade, and she says, I started to recognize that recently, when suggestions are being made by other people that are close to me, it plants a seed of doubt in my mind and makes me procrastinate more than usual. I know this is not intentional from them as they are trying to help, but some of these suggestions are not authentically me. And for some reason, it makes me feel like I don't know who I am, which I've never felt before, especially if I do what they've suggested. It's not that I don't want to take advice or constructive criticism from others, but equally, I don't want it to plant seeds of doubt for me or to feel like I'm losing my identity. I'd like for there to be a balance between listening to what other people have to say, but also trusting my own source and my intuition, which I use to thrive on and see growth from. Okay, how do I navigate all of this? Amazing. Okay. So, first of all, it's so good that you have a connection with your intuition and you've been able to thrive and grow in the past from trusting yourself. And I think you need to go back to that. First things first is do not internalize self doubt as something being wrong with you. Okay. People will have their doubts, people will have their comments, but if you internalize it, it's gonna breed a lot of self doubt and insecurity in you, which you don't want. So, first things first is imagine somebody is going to throw a tennis ball at you. You have two choices. You can either go like this and let the ball bounce off, or you can catch it. Okay. In life, people are always going to throw balls at you. What they think you should be doing, who they think you should be, how they think you should dress, how much money they think you should have. People are always going to throw balls at you. You have to decide which balls you're going to catch and put in your bag and which balls you're just going to let bounce off. Okay. And that's the same thing I need you to do with other people's advice. If it's coming from somebody that you trust, from somebody that is maybe in the arena with you, right? Because you shouldn't be taking advice from everybody and anybody. Take advice from people who have gone, who have walked the path that you want to walk, who have gone places where you want to go, right? These are the kind of people you want to be taking advice from. If somebody has no idea really what you're doing, the journey that you're going on, why are they really giving you advice, right? So you want to know which advice you really want to take on board. People who have done hard things, people who have done what you want to do and are maybe already a few years ahead of you. That's who you want to be taking advice from if any. The people you don't want to be taking advice from are the people who are sitting in their comfort zone, just throwing out things that you should be doing without any context or lived experience of the journey that you want to go on. Okay, so first thing, don't internalize the negative criticism. Second thing, choose who you want to accept advice from. And if you don't want to take their advice, you can just simply say, I appreciate your input, but I think I'm going to figure this out on my own. Or I need to spend some time figuring out what's best for me. Okay? You don't have to take on board every single thing someone says to you. Don't internalize the self doubt. Decide what you want to listen to, decide what you want to let go of, and then go back to practicing and trusting your intuition. Your higher self, that inner wisdom, it knows so much more than anybody else. Okay, so go back to trusting that inner wisdom, and you rebuild that trust by listening to it and taking action. And yes, things might not work out, and yes, people's advice might be right, but you owe it to yourself to go the path that you feel is right for you. And also, when you get advice from other people, create some space, write it down, think about it before you act. If you get advice from other people and act immediately, it creates more room for self doubt because you are just doing what they have said. You need to create space for you to critically think about things, analyze things, feel it in your body. Is your body saying yes or is your body saying no? A question is when you ask yourself, should I do this? If your body feels expansive, that's a sign you should go forward. If your body feels like shrinking, then maybe that's a sign you should take a step back and evaluate it a little bit more. And then finally, write down your own vision and know what really matters to you. And as the different advice comes in, you want to ask yourself, is this taking me closer to my vision? Is this helpful for me on my vision? Okay. You should never be asking people about your vision because your vision is unique to you. Right. So if you are going to get advice, filter it through that way. Does this align with my values of what really matters to me? Is this advice going to take me closer to my dreams or take me further away from my dreams? If something takes you further away from your dreams, it's okay to say thank you, but no thanks. Okay, so that is it for our dilemmas this month. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found any of this helpful, please leave me a comment below. If you have more dilemmas you want to submit, we're going to also have the link as well so you can submit your dilemmas. And the next dilemmas episode, I'm going to have a very, very special guest with me. So make sure you're ready for that. But please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like this video if you found it helpful. Life is more fun when we're all confident and killing it together. And I also want to hear from you. Do you have any extra advice you would like to give the girls who submitted their dilemmas? If you have any additional thoughts or comments, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, stay confident and killing it.